The movie began with a hiker in the forest. Soon he stumbled upon an abandoned tent and looked around to find its owner, but all he could find was a forest ranger tied around a tree. The young man rushed over to check on him, only to find a black liquid coming from his mouth. Now the scene cuts to a young woman named Melissa, who had recently taken up a forest ranger job to leave her troubling past behind. Her boyfriend Jake sent her several messages, asking her to talk to him, but she initially ignored them. She later messaged him back, forgetting she was driving a vehicle. She negligently almost hit a man with her car on the road.
Talking animal, talking carrot.
She got off the vehicle to check on the man, but the man had disappeared from there by then. However, the man suddenly popped in from the back, and Melissa scolded him for standing inadvertently in the middle of the road. The man stayed silent for a while, and then he told her that Dale had asked him not to talk to anyone. Melissa asked him who Dale was. Meanwhile, Dale with his friend named Buck arrived and told Melissa that he had told Skeeter to stay off the access road 20 times last season. Melissa asked Dale if he was in the woods for hunting, to which he answered in the negative. However, Melissa wasn't convinced by the response and warned him that hunting off-season was a criminal offense. In response to this, Dale then warned her to be alert as the forest was full of sick people. After that, Dale and his men left on their way. Melissa also got in her vehicle and left for her lookout tower. Seconds later, she arrived at her location to do her new job. She got off the vehicle, opened the door, and entered it. She got off her vehicle not knowing that the radio had started acting up. As she began to close the door, she spotted a car arriving there. Melissa quickly shut the door while keeping an eye on the Jeep. An unknown man inside the Jeep was staring at Melissa. Melissa ghosted him and got back in her vehicle. Sometime later, the man left in his Jeep, relieving Melissa. Melissa drove to her tower where she had to do her ranger duty. Here she met Billy, a current ranger who was in a hurry to leave after completing his term. Melissa apologized to him for arriving late. Billy then told her that Captain Edgewood didn't like excuses and asked her to be punctual as long as she was there. Billy assured her that everything she needed was available on the tower. In addition, he told Melissa that the hardest part in the woods was not going crazy, as she would definitely see something there in the woods. After this, Billy drove away in a rush. Melissa climbed up the tower to do her duty alone for the next 30 days. She unpacked her stuff, preparing to leave on her first patrol. She tried to turn on the radio, but there was no power, so she came downstairs and turned on the backup generator. Afterward, she headed back to the tower for reporting. Captain Edgewood admonished her for arriving and reporting so late, which caused her very first check-in on her very first day. Melissa said sorry to him and began to do her duty by scanning the area through the binoculars, searching for any unusual activity in the woods. She found everything okay and reported it to the captain on the radio. Meanwhile, a bird crashed into the glass, scaring Melissa. Melissa told the captain about it. Captain Edgewood on the other side asked Melissa to bury the bird so that it might not attract other animals. Melissa obeyed him and buried the little creature below her tower after taking a picture of it. Next, Melissa examined the woods with the binoculars and found everything to be in order. She then reported it to her officer. Melissa enjoyed the serene view of the forest from her watchtower. While slicing an onion, she heard a ranger on the radio asking if anyone was on the tower. Melissa promptly responded to the ranger, who asked her to shift to channel 12 so Captain Edgewood couldn't know they were having a word with each other. Melissa acted upon him and shifted to channel 12. The ranger told Melissa that he was Roy, a ranger from Blue Mountain. Roy said that he was thrilled to hear a new voice after a long while. He added that he was very happy doing 3 shifts in a row in this job. He then asked Melissa if she was there to chase or to run away, as he thought there were 2 kinds of rangers who volunteered for a tower shift, one who was chasing something and the other kind who were running from something. Hearing this, Melissa was speechless for a while, but Roy told her not to be in a hurry to answer him and asked her to tell him about it the next day. She donned the headphones and fell asleep unaware that an object had fallen from the sky into the woods. It was day 2. Melissa got up and did the morning exercises. She then got down from the tower to take a shower, not knowing that someone in the woods was stalking her. However, she later realized it and got back to her tower in a hurry. Moments later, Melissa went to patrol the area and found some soda cans in the woods. She curiously looked around but couldn't find anyone around. A few steps further, She stumbled upon a bear trap which she removed with a stick so that no animal might fall into it. Apart from the trap, Melissa happened to see blue blood on a dried tree and became confused. A few steps further, she came upon a speaker lying on the ground turned on near a tent. Melissa picked it up, turned it off, and looked into the tent, but the tent was empty. Soon, a terrified and seemingly lost lady popped up behind Melissa, startling her. Melissa asked her if she was okay, but the troubled lady kept saying, "I don't have it." Melissa asked the lady her name, to which the shocked lady replied that her name was Miss Conley. Melissa noticed that the lady had severe burn marks on her legs, which shocked her a lot. She took Conley to her tower and helped her sit on the steps. Melissa rushed upstairs and accidentally dropped her solar panel off the tower, the only source of power at the tower. She hurriedly contacted a ranger on the radio and informed him everything about a burned hiker.
She has severe burns on her legs. She's a burned hiker.
Copy.
The other ranger told her that Captain Edgewood was on patrol, not far from her. Melissa rushed to the cabinet and resorted to a first aid kit. She then hurried down the stairs to treat the shocked lady, but the lady had disappeared by then. Captain Edgewood was on patrol with other assistant rangers when he was informed about an injured hiker at Lantern Ridge Tower. Captain Edgewood asked the ranger what a hiker was doing at the tower, to which the other ranger replied he had no idea about it. Elsewhere, Melissa managed to find Miss Conley near the tower, staring at the woods. She took her back to the tower to treat her burn marks. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Skeeter was stalking them by hiding in the woods. Moments later, Captain Edgewood arrived at the tower in his vehicle with other rangers to check on the wounded hiker. Melissa told him that she found the burned hiker when she was on patrol, and the hiker couldn't remember how she became injured. A ranger took Miss Conley to the vehicle, while Captain Edgewood began scolding Melissa for frolicking in the woods, as it wasn't her job. He rudely told Melissa that her duty was to just sit in her tower day and night and watch for fires.
The most exciting part of your day, God willing, there's no fires.
I understand that.
No, obviously you do not understand. So why are you prancing around like Titania?
After throwing his weight around, Captain Edgewood walked away. Before leaving, he ordered Melissa to get the solar panel fixed by 5 p.m. Melissa took the damaged solar panel to her cabin and began to think how she could fix it. To keep herself composed and relaxed, she took deep breaths and dozed off. However, she was soon roused by the ringing of the radio. Captain Edgewood was on the line, asking her to report on the forest conditions. After starting the backup generator, Melissa spotted a pouch lying on the ground below her tower. She picked it up and headed upstairs. There she found some rocks of different colors inside the pouch and began to examine them. Her examination was cut short when Roy came on the radio. Melissa asked him how his day was, to which Roy replied that it was like every other day. Roy appreciated her for helping the lady hiker out there. There was a storm outside the tower, and Skeeter was in the woods, searching for a shining stone. Suddenly, the power at the tower went out, plunging it into darkness. The radio began to act strangely, prompting Melissa to approach it. She heard whispers and picked up the microphone, hoping that Roy was on the line, but the radio turned off on its own. Disappointed, Melissa returned to the couch, but just then the radio turned on automatically. The voice on the other end was claiming that something was his. Melissa was extremely frightened by this. The next morning, Melissa continued her morning routine like doing exercises, having a shower and brushing her teeth. She packed her stuff before patrolling the woods and took bear repellent as well for her safety. She left the tower and went into the woods to check in. Melissa arrived at the tent site where she had found Miss Conley the previous day. She took out her camera and took a picture of a hole inside the tent. Meanwhile, a camper arrived there, asking Melissa what had happened there. Melissa replied that even she had no idea about it. The young man told Melissa that he was camping at the base of the ridge. Then Melissa asked him if he had noticed anything unusual last night, to which the man replied that all he could notice was just a storm. Afterward, the man set out on his way, not knowing that Melissa had secretly taken a picture of him. At night, Melissa conversed with Roy on the radio. Roy asked her who she was running from, leaving Melissa speechless for a while. She then replied to him that she was actually there chasing something, but deep down inside, she was running from herself. The following morning, while patrolling the woods, Melissa heard whispers echoing through the forest. She became terrified and rushed back to the tower, but miserably, she ended up in a bear trap. She tried her best to free herself, but failed. In the meantime, the same camper showed up there and helped her by carefully removing the bear trap. He helped her up and asked her to let him take her back to her lookout tower, which made her suspicious. Melissa told him that she never said she was in a tower. In response, the camper insisted that she had said so. The camper began to force her to let him help her, but Melissa refused to take his help. Nonetheless, the man kept advancing toward her with ill intention. With no option, Melissa attacked him with the bear repellent, but the man remained unharmed. Meanwhile, Dale and his friend arrived and told the camper to bug off. The camper stepped aside, letting Dale and his friend take Melissa away. Dale told Melissa to shoot the camper in the heart at once if she encountered him again. Buck lagged behind while protecting Dale and Melissa. The camper lifted him into midair, revealing that he wasn't a normal human being. He pulled out a shining stone from Buck's pocket and kept it with him. Buck asked Dale and Melissa to rush off, and soon the evil camper killed him by twisting Buck's head back. Afterward, the camper turned his attention to Melissa and Dale. In the moments of desperation, Dale and Melissa climbed into the truck and tried to drive away, but the mighty camper held the truck back, demonstrating his matchless power. Melissa pointed the crossbow at him, causing him to let go of the truck in fear. Dale told Melissa that he had already warned her of some weird people in the woods. Melissa asked him what the thing was they recently encountered. Dale pointed out that it was the devil. Soon he arrived at a place where Skeeter was tied around a tree. Dale rushed out of the truck, asking Melissa to stay inside. Not long after, Melissa spotted the devil in the front, approaching the truck. She honked to warn Dale, but it was too late. The devil broke down the door, but soon he was lunged at by Dale, who removed the camper's bracelet and threw it away. However, the fight couldn't last longer and ended with the death of Dale. Melissa escaped into a nearby tent to avoid the possessed camper. The devil camper retrieved his bracelet studded with stones and began to search for Melissa. He soon sensed her inside the tent and told her that she had something that he desperately needed.
I want. You can just give it to me. No little friends left to help you.
Meanwhile, Melissa secretly crawled out of the tent and dashed off to her lookout tower. Skeeter appeared before the camper with his crossbow pointing at him, asking what he had done to him. The devil camper told him that he gave him a gift. Then, he stabbed Skeeter to death in cold blood. After that, the possessed camper surrounded Melissa, who asked him what he wanted from her. Then he told her that she had something that he needed. Melissa, holding a branch, insisted that she had nothing that belonged to him. Nonetheless, the possessed camper grabbed Melissa by her hair and began to drag her to her tower, but Melissa seized a stone and attacked him with it. She hurt him and rushed back to her tower while the camper was bleeding blue blood. He grew more furious and went after Melissa straight away. Melissa rushed upstairs to save herself from the camper possessed by the devil. She promptly hid one of the rocks into a box, as she had realized that the camper was after those rocks. Then she grabbed an axe to confront the devil. Meanwhile, Roy arrived at the tower to meet Melissa, but sadly he was thrown off the tower by the possessed camper. The camper desperately looked for the stones in the cabinets, not knowing that Melissa had already grabbed them.
Come on. Come on. Is this? Why are you doing this to me?
Melissa, grabbing an axe, followed the camper, who rushed downstairs to retrieve the rocks and struck him with it. Before the camper could die, a black liquid came out of his mouth and entered Roy's mouth. While crawling towards Melissa, Roy, possessed by the evil liquid, asked Melissa to return him his rocks. With no option, Melissa took a wrench from the truck and attacked Roy with it, killing him. After getting over all the odds, Melissa, completely worn out, climbed up the tower and tried to contact Captain Edgewood, but the radio didn't start. So she took the radio and threw it away in desperation. Sometime later, Captain Edgewood and Billy arrived at the tower and witnessed the slaughter. Captain Edgewood approached Melissa and quickly understood what actually happened there. He took her to his vehicle. Billy spotted a black liquid near the corpse and mistakenly smelled it. Edgewood told Melissa that she should return home now. Afterward, Captain Edgewood appointed Billy to the lookout tower for a couple of weeks until he found another volunteer ranger. Then he left to take Melissa home. Back at the tower, Billy opened the box containing a rock. He took the rock and approached the railing of the tower while the same black liquid was coming from his nose.